Let's move on now to Nomarashiya Caluza, who is the KwaZulu-Natal Secretary of the South African Democratic Teachers Union. And of course, we speak about this horrible incident in which more than 20 lives were lost, 19 children, 2 adults in that accident. uPhongola, very good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. How's the school and fraternity taking the deaths, particularly that of the children?
Thank you for hosting us. We have been part of the teams today that were visiting the schools as well as the affected families. The situation is devastating. There's shock, there's sadness, there's grief. I don't even know how to explain how the families are feeling together with the teachers and learners that we visited. This is through the report that I received from the delegation of SADTU that was part of the visits today. It is so unfortunate that from time to time we have to witness these road carnages that mostly affect our learners, even though we have been calling for the department, for example, to ensure that there's learner transport in all the areas. We always say this, even though we know that these road accidents and road carnages, they just happen, even if it's a good transport. But what is mostly affecting us and devastating mostly is the fact that these accidents are as a result of reckless driving. That is what the community there is complaining about. And they are saying they've been raising these issues, including the teachers themselves. They've been making observations around these issues. And here we are. We've lost 18 learners from 4 different schools, as well as a student teacher that was doing teaching practice in one of the schools. It's so frustrating, devastating, but we are saying as SADTU, we must continue to be with the communities, especially the school community, to give all the necessary support, of course, working with all the relevant departments as it happened today, and will continue until there's a funeral for all these learners.
It's interesting. So you say it's 18 learners' lives that have been lost, and one of a school teacher. Now, this conversation I've just had now with the Department of Transport, the spokesperson there say in uPhongola what has happened was really the result of reckless driving by this truck driver. But we know that infrastructure that is meant for civilian vehicles suffers greatly when heavy-duty vehicles are using it. Often, this is why there's often separate lanes for heavy-duty vehicles on highways. What conversation was had, particularly, I want to understand for school children that are traveling to school, these ones who are traveling in a bakkie. Obviously, this is also due to a lack of school transportation. How big a problem is it in this area?
You see, on the issue of school transportation, it's very clear that the bakkies are not safe for transporting school learners. That is why the view has always been that there must be school buses that are always tested for their roadworthiness. But thinking about uPhongola, the road is small. And the fact that that road is shared with the heavy duty, as you are saying, it's also a revelation about the failure of the public transport system that is there, which now includes the taxis, the buses, and then these heavy trucks that are always driving that side. And there's more like there's competition. There's always a race amongst these truck drivers competing with the public, with the civilians that are using the same route. It's a situation that the government has to wake up and ensure that the matter is attended, because otherwise those community members are always exposed and subjected to this form of devastation. As of now, as we're having these meetings with different departments, the community is boycotting now. They were closing the roads, but that will not assist. What is important is for the government to always go there and ensure that there's an alternative route, for example, for the heavy duty vehicles, so that the civilians are not disturbed and not affected by these accidents, especially our learners that have to travel from and to schools. And it is important that they are provided with the safest transport available. As we know that in KwaZulu-Natal, for example, there's a policy of providing learner transport to learners, but we've always been complaining that not all qualifying learners are benefiting from that arrangement. So from time to time, we'll see learners and parents using sometimes transport that is not safe, that cannot be verified about its roadworthiness. And I'm not suggesting that this accident is as a result of that the bakkie was not roadworthy. We don't know for now, and that is why we are just leaving everything to investigations that must be taking place to ensure that everything was everything correct, and was the van itself roadworthy.
I get the point that you're making, that this is part of a wider problem. The Department of Social Development, working with the Department of Education, apparently was part of the delegation that was there to assist with social services for learners and teachers at affected schools. What conversation was had in terms of engaging the community of uPhongola to find long-lasting solutions to end such tragic accidents? So it goes beyond the road infrastructure, the available transportation. What support can the Department of Social Development offer?
For now, it's just the psychosocial support and also the commitment that the government will take responsibility in terms of the funeral services. For now, that is it, but there's continuous engagement on what has to be done with that road and what is taking place in the road. But for now, I can declare that the engagements that we're part of was that of these departments committing to the community and the affected families that they will be assisting for these learners and everyone that has passed on to be laid to rest with respect and dignity, but also to provide the psychosocial support, which is something very important, not just for the affected families, but also for the schools that are affected. Because if you just lose, even if it's one learner, as it has happened, it's quite a big issue. Think about the classmates, think about the teachers. So the whole school community, the community around the school, as well as the affected families, they do need this psychosocial support.
All right, thank you so much for your time and speaking to us. Nomarashiya Caluza is SADTU's KwaZulu-Natal Secretary, speaking to us about the aftermath of that tragic accident of uPhongola and what they can do as the education sector, including other government agencies, to help the community and prevent such tragic accidents from happening in future.